I'm Mark Turner, president of the Gilroy Chamber of Commerce, and back with Senator Monning as we finish our discussion, especially around our legislative summit and having the senator with us talking about, for the most part, topics around COVID-19. And so, Senator, we certainly appreciate you being with us. You have served for a number of years in the legislature, first in the Assembly and now in the Senate. What are 2 or 3 issues that you've been most passionate about?
Well, I think throughout my tenure, I was first elected, Mark, to the State Assembly in 2008, then to the State Senate in 2012, and I will be termed out at the end of this, my second term, 4-year term in the State Senate at the end of November. During that entire tenure, I'll just mention in both the Assembly and the Senate, I've had the honor of representing South Santa Clara County, Gilroy, Morgan Hill, San Martin, and wonderful communities. It's been a great honor and privilege to represent the residents of Gilroy and to work with the Chamber in Gilroy. I've been most proud in my work through the years. I've focused on children's health and generally on health care. I chaired the Health Committee in the Assembly. As the majority leader in the Senate, I've continued to serve on the Health Committee in the Senate as well, in promoting programs to expand access to health care for all Californians, particularly for children. We now in California provide access to health care for all children, regardless of economic status, regardless of immigration status, on the notion that access to health care is a public health essential. It's a moral imperative, and the health of our broader communities is certainly impacted by whether children have access to health care, to immunizations, etc. I've also championed good nutrition for children, physical exercise, good diet, healthful diet, and making sure some of our school lunch programs and other government-supported food programs prioritize healthful food, good nutrition, low sodium, low sugar, etc. And I've, of course, championed trying to reduce the consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages, which we know are the leading source of bad caloric intake in children that can lead to preventable type 2 diabetes. We're seeing it at earlier and early ages. I've also focused on public health issues related to clean, safe drinking water. Last year, the governor signed what was a 3-year project, my Senate Bill 200, to get resources for clean, safe drinking water throughout the state of California, including areas of Santa Clara County that will now be eligible to remediate contaminated water systems with state support. So that's been a huge achievement, and it will be implemented over the next 10 years. Finally, I would just comment, I've worked with business since I was in the Assembly on protecting law-abiding businesses from what we call the underground economy, from mavericks, from people who don't play by the rules, who are paying cash under the table, not contributing to programs that law-abiding employers have to. And this creates a competitive disadvantage for those who are playing by the rules. So I've partnered with Republican counterparts on legislation, both in the Assembly and the Senate, to level that playing field, to make sure investigative agencies are protecting those who are playing by the rules and penalizing those who exploit not only workers, but also exploit in the marketplace a competitive disadvantage by breaking the rules. So we called that our work on the underground economy. I've been proud to partner with my Republican colleagues in advancing those initiatives.
Well, Senator, we appreciate your commitment and dedication and service to our community. Now, you mentioned just a few minutes ago that your time in office is coming to an end soon. With that being the case, what's next for Bill Monning?
Well, so I do term out at the end of this legislative session. At the end of November is when the transition happens. So my successor will be elected in the November 2020 election. I will be facing or joining the ranks of the retired in California, but I can assure you that I will continue to stay active. I'm not quite sure in what capacity. I know for sure I'll spend a little more time with the grandchildren and maybe catching up on some travel with my wife that's been postponed for the last 12 years. But I'll continue to be active in the community. I would not foreclose future opportunities working in some capacity in government, either federal or state, not in an elected position, but maybe in some advisory role. My background is mediation, international conflict resolution. I've missed working in the international arena. California is certainly on the Pacific Rim. We are part of an international economic community, and I could see maybe being more involved in some of that international work with Mexico, Canada, Asia Pacific.
Well, it sounds like you'll have plenty to do, and I hope you enjoy your time with your grandkids and doing a little traveling with your wife. Any final thoughts?
Well, again, Mark, I just want to thank you and the Chamber for your leadership in the city of Gilroy. These past 2 years have been really tough for Gilroy residents, starting with the tragedy and the shooting at the Garlic Festival and the slow recovery, both economic and perhaps more importantly, emotionally. Gilroy stood strong and showed the best side in the face of tragedy, of people coming together. And I know the Chamber was at the center of much of that healing that continues. And I just want to acknowledge all of the community groups, the nonprofits, the businesses, people who have stood together. And unfortunately, that looks like it might have been some dress rehearsal for what we're facing right now with the impacts of the COVID-19, not limited to Gilroy, which makes it even tougher because it's afflicting everybody in the state of California, everybody in our nation. But once again, working together, honoring those who are showing the most courage and sacrifice, whether they're working in our fields, keeping businesses that are essential open, our grocers, our grocery workers, home delivery folks, health workers. There are so many that are displaying just tremendous courage, selflessness, and really heroism. And I think the Chamber also leads in acknowledging those members of our community, many of them businesses that are continuing to serve during these very tough times. So again, thanks to you, Mark, for your leadership. Thanks to the Chamber and to all the business members of the Chamber. This is a vital organization, the voice now perhaps more important than ever before. And I will be honored and privileged to carry your voice and concerns to Sacramento as we re-engage, focused on our budget for 2021 and trying to restore the economy of the state of California. So thank you, and to all, be safe, be well. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Senator. We appreciate the encouraging words. Our residents and our business owners have proven we've made it through some difficult times, and we'll get through these difficult times as well. Well, this wraps up this segment of our Legislative Summit. I'm Mark Turner with the Gilroy Chamber of Commerce.